There's Sherry.
Hi, Sherry. We're live. Okay.
Hi, Sherry.
I'm going to continue my new habit of opening up with a little bit of scripture as I
My brother does that.
work my way. That's awesome. As I work my way through the Psalms, just a few verses. Psalm 70. I am going to read the whole chapter, but don't freak out. It's only 5 verses. Hasten, O God. And since I'll let you know, I haven't heard anything from Larry yet. So hasten, O God, to save me. I'm going to say, hasten, O God, to please save Larry. O Lord, come quickly to help me, to help him. May those who seek his life be put to shame and confusion, and may all who desire Larry's ruin be turned back in disgrace. May those who say, aha, aha, turn back because of their shame, But may all who seek you rejoice and be glad in you. May those who love your salvation always say, let God be exalted. Yet I'm poor and needy. Come quickly, O God. You are my help and my deliverer. O Lord, do not delay. So that's, obviously when I read through scripture like this and find it so appropriate for what our concerns are, I read, but I stop after each verse and I say a prayer and repeat back to God his words. And of course, we know these are David's words. And like Larry, David, no, said again the other way around. Like David, Larry has been an incredible soldier, involved in a lot of battles, and of course not every battle's been shoot 'em up, but he's had plenty of those, and he continues to fight for us. Now, what kind of fighting he's allowed to do right now, I don't know. My guess is he's fighting for his own life rather than our country, so keep him in prayer. All right, a few other verses. Psalm 71, verses 20 to 24. Though you have made me see troubles many and bitter, though you've made Larry see troubles many and bitter, you will restore his life again, and I claim that today. From the depths of the earth, you will again bring me up. And we can never forget 2 years ago, in a couple of days, it'll be 2 years since we prayed and he came back from having been pronounced dead. And the doctors walked out and were done trying to revive him. You will increase my honor and comfort me once again. I will praise you with the harp. And I look forward to Larry being able to sing with his guitar again. Mm-hmm. For your faithfulness, oh my God, I will sing praise to you with the lyre, another stringed instrument like the guitar. O Holy One, my lips will shout for joy when I sing praise to you. My tongue will tell of your righteous acts all day long, for those who want to harm me have been put to shame and confusion. And, Perry Stone, I think it was, said that the verse, ask and you shall receive. It might not have been Perry Stone. I think it was somebody else. He said ask actually means declare. So it's not just a sense of begging, but it's the confidence that a child has going to a parent, expecting that the parent is going to do what we ask. And so I'm expecting, just like Psalm 118:17, I will not die but live. Larry will not die but live and declare the works of the Lord. So we're expecting that his tongue will tell of God's righteous acts. And then one more, the last half of Psalm 72:15. Well, let's see, no, that's 13. Hang on. May people ever pray for him and bless him all day long. May people ever pray for him and bless him all day long. So I ask that you keep Larry in prayer. Mm-hmm. And I assume that there's no devastatingly bad news until we hear some. So I know what he's dealing with is devastating. I know what he's dealing with is bad news. But until I have confirmation that it's final, I anticipate he will be back. Even if we have to pray him back. I just hope that we will hear in time to be able to do that again. So thanks everybody for praying. I have one other bit of important news. If anybody cares about our Second Amendment, this is critical. Lisa Haven did a program today, and where did I put my cell phone? Her show today is called Red Alert. If something isn't done today to stop it, the ATF will create something we can't undo. The ATF is taking all guns that are bought and registered when you fill out your paperwork. They are collecting all that paperwork to make a national gun registry. Now we know gun registry is what happens before they're ready to take the guns away. So we are in dangerous times. The globalists don't want nationalism anywhere in the world, and they are continuing. It's shocking to see how they continue to march forward with their plans for absolute control. And when they have absolute control, then you have a few people in power, and everybody else, it's all the lowest common denominator. Winston Churchill himself, I was reading this morning, talked about socialism, and it is putting, yes, there's equality at the bottom, equality among the poorest, and that's what they want. They will, the wealthy elite, the wealthy, powerful elite will always have access to everything they want, always. And they will not face difficulties unless they cross the system and are taken out for it. And Larry had told me that the likes of Michael Bloomberg, with his billions of dollars, can buy, somebody like that can buy their way in. And so anyhow, be prepared.
I'll look into that though for you, Mary Ellen.
Okay, be prepared. Be prepared for quarantine and martial law wherever you are. I am hoping that being outside of DC right now gives me a little bit of protection right now, but I'm looking forward to getting out of here pretty soon because of all the other stuff going on. Mary, we don't know anything about Larry. Haven't heard a thing since Mark was able to visit with his wife earlier last week, and Mark came down with the flu himself, so he won't be going anywhere to check on anybody for a while. And everything is being kept under wraps. They are guarding their privacy as they have the right to do. They have the right to guard his privacy and not to allow any information out. And if that's their right and that's what they're allowed to do, and I'm not going to, I have no way to twist their arms to tell us anything more.
I've even tried.
Yeah. So, we don't know where he is. We don't know what his condition is. But back to what the ATF is doing. There's an organization called Gun Owners, and if you go to gunowners.org, they have a petition to oppose national gun registry. So I highly recommend, since today is no more public comment after today to have any input in this. So today's it, and we're almost to the end of the day here on the East Coast, and the ATF headquarters, or at least a major facility, is just 15 minutes away from me. So, we're talking Eastern time, so we've got an hour and a half to be able to get hold of them. So we'll be sure that we're done to still give you time for the last half hour. But gunowners.org, sign that petition and make your voice heard. Thanks. And I just found out about it 10 minutes, well, it's about 20 minutes now, because I found out about it 10 minutes before we started here. So I was getting ready and getting set up, so I was listening to her while I was setting up, so I haven't had a chance to do it either yet. So Gloria, thank you for your comment about respecting the right to privacy. It's when he's a public person, when he loves being with us, when he loves sharing as much as he can, it's hard to deal with his silence. And I pray for his wife, because I don't know what condition he's in to be able to interact with her. I have no idea. I know last week, I know she's been a faithful wife. Let me just put it that way. She's been a very faithful wife, and she's guarding him while she has the chance to do it to the best of her ability. And the petition, Val, is at gunowners.org, gunowners.org. So that's why I read that verse in Psalm 71 and 72, to pray for him. It says that right in Scripture. We pray for him. So let's be doing that. And if you want to pray with me tonight at 9 Eastern, you're welcome to do that with the conference call. That number is under here. There's, speculation that the stock market dropping significantly today is the fear. Everything's fear-based when it comes to the stock market. So especially the downturns, it's going to happen because, it's climbed so much. And so we've got a correction today. And they're thinking that it's because of the health scare around the globe, which is preventing shipment. If things are assembled here in America, they can say made in America. If they can't get the parts, if they can't get one tiny part, then they can't get their items assembled. So it's having repercussions and ripples worldwide and creating a problem. And so no wonder the markets are a little freaked out today. So I don't know if any of you guys saw President Trump's speech. It was at 3 a.m. Eastern this morning. I've listened to half of it. I listened to the Modi's introduction, and my goodness, that stadium was full.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the crowds, the noise they made, was pretty horrendous. Even though the volume I had turned down, you could hear they were going crazy. So, it's great. It's great to hear him being received well in other countries. And, when he goes to his own rallies, he is received well there. And so I'm glad, obviously somebody who has been on TV shows, the man's got a big ego. And I'm glad that it could be stroked somewhat, and being held accountable and called to task is not necessarily a really, really bad thing. So After 2 caucuses and 1 primary, Bernie leading the pack. Oh, I saw it. It's not really that significant yet. I saw a great meme today. It said, "Okay, socialist Bernie, I see they're distributing the wealth of your votes." His electoral votes. So, and of course, the whole Democrat system with their super delegates is such an incredibly rigged system that, yeah. Anyhow, I think Pete was pretty upset about his winning, about Bernie winning the Nevada caucuses. But, folks, we've got to look seriously at what these Democrats are, what they represent. They are the party of death. And although I don't want us to have a uniparty, we basically have a uniparty now when so many Republicans stand with them on so many issues. But to have a uniparty is still going to put absolute control in the hands of a few. So we do need more parties, and multiple parties wouldn't be a bad thing. But this year we've got to do a straight red ticket if we have any hope of saving our country from communism. And then we've got to hold the Republicans' feet to the fire in the House and the Senate to do what's right and not lock everything up for themselves, like Maryland has done with the Democrat Party in our state legislature, where they've gerrymandered the state and changed everything so much that we can't get a Republican in, no way, no how, almost anywhere. And they've got such absolute power, it's petrifying. So, a restaurant called Karma. There's no menu, you get what you deserve. And you know what? Sarah Sanders, Aileen, is right. You can't ever underestimate the Democrats because they are constantly pulling a trick out of their sleeve. Constantly. And they have to be held to task. It's definitely imperative. So, all right, Elly, take it away. I seem to pick up about 20 minutes every day, but
you're okay.
You said you were going to give an update, so
yeah. Alcohol. Boy, alcohol is like a curse in my family. I lost my son 2003 to alcohol, and my son-in-law's had alcohol issues for quite a while, quite a few years, and just over the last year, he's gotten violent a little bit and abusive with my daughter and my grandkids. And Thursday night, my grandkids come in and screaming that he was hurting their mom. And we went down to the house. He only lived 2 doors down. Thank goodness. We got there. He was choking my daughter out. And it took 3 of us to pull him off. We did call the police. He was arrested. So it's been pretty traumatic since Thursday night for my daughter and the kids. Very scary. He has been charged. She is leaving him in the midst of, we're trying to get her place empty and move her in with us for the time being. And he's big on guns. And I hate to say, but he did pull a gun out. But he did give it to us. When we asked him for it, he did hand it over, and he handed it over, handle first. He didn't work well with the police, which I don't think that was in his favor for what he was charged. But we've got some very scared grandkids, and
It's been scary for me, lack of sleep. And my daughter's just crushed, just totally crushed. She was, said everything sounded like it was underwater. When we tried to pull him off, he was tightening on her throat. He had her like in an arm lock, like he was going to twist her head. She had fingerprints on her back. She had red across her throat. And it took her a while to breathe, normal, because she was hyperventilating almost, or choked out. The more we tried to pull on him, the more he tightened up on her throat. And so like I said, it took me and 2 men to pull him off. And I asked him if he knew what he was doing, because he was drunk. And he said yes, he knew what he was doing. And the only thing I could think of was say, aren't you ashamed of yourself? And he said no. So it's been traumatic, but I'm ready to get back on the ball and back in and do shows. And I pray, and I could be real upset, but God's with me, and God keeps my spirit up, and to keep everyone else happy. I might have to poke Mary Ellen a few times today for happiness. But oh my goodness, folks, if you got alcohol problems in your family, get them help before it goes this far. I tried to tell everything as honestly as I could to you, because if they grab this, they could use it. And I'm not fibbing. I'm not exaggerating what happened that night. So it was just a very scary night for my grandkids, especially when they come in screaming into my house. And, and then I have to go down and see that. And, of course, his family's going to take his side. And my reaction to them was, I only have 2 kids, and I've lost one. And, by God, I'm not going to lose this one. And if I would have done everything I could to get him off of her. So, that's pretty much what happened. And that's why I was gone. And that's why I didn't have shows over the weekend, is to calm our family down and to, make sure they're safe, and, changing locks, and, keeping, trying to be there for my daughter, because she is just destroyed, and her heart is so broken that he, tried to do this to her. They were in the middle of kind of looking at splitting up, but I don't know what come over him except for the alcohol. He was very, very bad drunk, and it's just sad, because we did like the kid. He's been a part of our family for 12 years, and he's had a place in our heart. But we just got to do for our daughter, and he did wrong, and he needs to be punished for it. It's just sad. So that's pretty much what happened. And goodness, so we're on the road to recovery here for all of us, for both families, I hope. There is a no contact, and the judge put a no contact until further notice by him. And it looks like
by him, the judge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because normally we heard from the police that it would probably be till this week, and then we might have to get an emergency order, or as much as I know about the courts, I'm at a loss. I guess my mind is just mush. But so I was going to send her to get a restraining order today, because we just don't know what he's going to do. And she found out that the judge has got a standing order, no contact from his family to ours. It's protecting the kids. It's protecting both properties, which is great. I love the judge for this. I prayed so hard. that, you know, it would go right in court today. And he took our side, and I believe with the help of the police department and seeing what they seen and seeing what we seen that night. And they did a really thorough report. We had really good witnesses, and so the judge basically, instead of just saying, you know, we would have to go get a restraining order, he just put a standing order until he releases it. So he's concerned for the kids. So that was great. That was great. So I'm, you know, like I said, I'm all ready to go back to work. I know my brother is ready for me to be back. He said, you know, I miss the smiles and the laughters and the pokes. And I said, well, you know, I go, but you know what, Elly, I said, Mary Ellen gets poked first. So I'll make her laugh today and make y'all laugh. You know, I don't have a vengeful heart. I don't hold grudges. And, you know, I try to look at every day as a new day. And I say that on my show. You know, what happened yesterday is yesterday. And what happens today is what you make it. And to make tomorrow in the future even better. And I believe that, you know, and I believe, you know, he had a bad day. You know, now he needs to fix today and then make a better future for himself. Same with my daughter. You know, she needs to think of her kids and making it better. And the abuse is gone. You know, I told her, I said, the worst part's over, hon. Now you're safe. Now the yelling and the screaming and, you know, today will be a better day. And now it's a new future for you and your kids. And it's what you make it. You know, and I feel like that for everybody, you know. And I even tell people that come in grumbly, oh, I've had a bad morning. I said, well, you know what? Turn that frown upside down, and you know what? We're going to make it a good day, you know, because God blesses us every day. And we have a new chance every day to make it better. So, and I hope it rubs off on y'all, you know. That's my way of life. I'm happy-go-lucky, and you know, I'm just a little joker that I've been since I was a kid and grew up that way, and I still have the same bright outlook on life. You know, I think life is wonderful. You know, even though we got the socialism and the Bernie Sanders of the world, and you know what, if we all band together, we could always make it make America great again. There you go. And keep America great. And it takes all of us to make it wonderful. You know, and when you see a friend in need, you know, sometimes they want to talk, sometimes they don't. Maybe just take them over a candy bar and a flower. You know, say, hey, I'm thinking about you. You know, I tell my viewers, I said, you know what, today open the door for a stranger and tell them, you know, good morning or good afternoon. You know, so, you know, I hope everybody, maybe this will help someone today. Maybe this will have someone have a new outlook on life. And, you know, all we need is faith of a mustard seed, that God will make things better for us. You know, and that's so little. If you look at a mustard seed, I keep mustard seeds in my cupboard. So when my grandkids or my kids are down, I give them just that one little mustard seed. And I said, see, that's all you need. I said, now close your hand and put it in your pocket because God's with you today. And all you have to do is just remember that little tiny mustard seed is God's glory all day, and He'll walk with you. So,
we've got a couple of things in the chat. On the serious note, I've got echo again, Elly.
okay.
Weinstein was convicted of 5. Well, he was on trial for 5 offenses. He was convicted on 2, and they're the 2 lesser charges, which is kind of typical of your elite getting up. Sorry, my feet fell off the chair. The elite getting away with stuff. It just, ay, ay, ay. You know, all we can do is hope that he gets justice and doesn't get an 18-month or 3-year sentence, whatever it was that Anthony Weiner got. This guy needs to be put away.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing, Jay Sekulow revealed today that the FBI agent responsible for the FISA abuse is Steven Sommer. Man, I haven't heard that name before. Who's that?
I hadn't either. I was looking him up, and I couldn't really see anything on him that made him in people's eyeballs. But there's been a couple of them that have been connected to it. I'm just wondering if those were the little guys they're going to go after. Because when you take one of the smaller ones down, they'll squeal, and they'll tell you who you need to know.
Well, and I think that's I think, based on, what Larry has told us. I think that, Larry said with Andrew McCabe, see how Barr deals with him. But right now, he's been let off the hook, not on everything. He's been let off the hook on some of the smaller stuff. And I think Andrew McCabe rolled. And so that was probably part of his plea deal with Barr.
I heard this morning that they're not going to let McCabe off too soon just yet. It was on the Federalist. I posted the story on my news page. And they're not, that's what I was thinking, is they just let him off on a few things to get it out of the way because, then they go on to the deeper investigations. And he signed off on those FISA warrants. So, he's still got some investigation that's being done on him. And, this thing with the Russians, they're trying to blame Bernie and Trump.
Wait. McCabe signed off on FISA?
He did on I think it was the last one.
Oh, I knew Rosenstein had signed off.
Yeah, but he was, there was it's really hard to explain the FISA warrants because it goes through through the woods. It's got to go through woods, and everybody wanted the woods documents, and they couldn't find them. And so when you first do the process, once you get the FISA warrant, then it's looked at by, let's say, Comey and them, and then they decide, and then they have to get a Woods document or Woods report done. Well, some of the FISA reports they skipped. Some of them were filled out and signed. And then it goes on to whether or not there's, there's indictments or they give them the okay to go ahead and spy. And so they would either sign off on to be able to spy on Trump, if that's what it was about, or indictments. So from what I'm getting from some of the documents is, and this was even part of the Mueller report in the footnotes, that McCabe did sign off, but it never did say what he signed off on. I thought it was the FISA report, so it could be one, because there was 4 of them. And Rosenstein signed off on some. And I even heard early on that Obama signed one. And I can't find nothing on it. I just, but we don't know until it's all released. I mean, the news people are going to say anything to get you to watch them. And it's so hard because it makes my job harder. Because if they twist it just that little bit and I run with it and then it turns up fake, then it makes me look like I'm not credible. And so this here, I have held off on the whole, on who has signed off on it. But there was multiple people. And the thing about it, when Mueller got the reports, he seen there was nothing there. He seen nothing was there. Yet he had 40 FBI agents and 17 investigative lawyers of Hillary's to look into this whole Trump thing for what, 3 years? And he knew when he first got it, there was nothing there. So what did he do for 3 years? If he knew it was fake, he knew it was a hoax, the Mueller and 67 of them did what? And that's the big question. And I think that's going to be the big question with Barr and Durham, is if he knew, and the documents show that he knew that there was nothing there. Like, what was it, Strauss? There's no there. And there wasn't. And they knew it was a hoax. They never should have continued on with it. So for some reason, Mueller pushed it on, and nobody knows why. And I think that's what Nunes is trying to go after. And
well, let's just, first of all, greed, padding their pockets. Second of all, TDS, Trump derangement syndrome, hatred of the president. Yeah, hating, killing time and getting paid.
he's said they heard McCain signed it, but he didn't read it. You see, that's what they did a lot. And then Eileen says the proof of Obama. Yeah. See, I think that's where I get all my documents from Tom Fenton and read them. I'm in the midst of reading a whole bunch of WikiLeaks lately, which is weird. I don't usually try to go to WikiLeaks, but I'm trying to get enough info so I could pull documents on it. And it's just an investigation I'm doing. The good thing is I was about ready to tell you before we stopped on McCabe, is you mentioned that Russia thing with Bernie Sanders and Trump. Well, let's see. I'll have to find it on my thing.
Can you imagine how Putin's laughing right now?
Yeah. Oh, well, I heard over the weekend that Russia watched the impeachment trial as their soap operas, and they're continuing to watch it to find out what Pelosi does next, because she's the villain. So so Russia is watching us like a soap opera. It's their nighttime Dallas and their daytime All My Children is what they're claiming. It's like, oh my goodness. Let's see, where did okay, the Intel, the State Department, and NSI has come forward this morning and explained that they had Intel go to Congress and explain to Congress what was going on with the Russian ties to this next election. And they said they had found trolls, but there was no conclusive evidence that Putin was any part of this. And they fully explained it to Congress, and they said they explained it, but they think they were taking it wrong. They fully explained, but concluded Congress misheard the facts and then leaked it to the media. So that was their response this morning. And this comes from the Intel through the State Department. So there's where your Russian story comes from. They listened to the Intel, and first thing I said, yep, Adam Schiff twisted it. They took it to Congress, they twisted it and leaked it to the media, of course, that, Trump's working with Putin and he's buddies with him, and Bernie Sanders. And, Hillary even accused Gabbard of being a Russian spy. So, oh my goodness, here we go again. So this hopefully will fall apart in their face. And it was really more of the media. And I watched, I call it Operation Mockingbird, when they go through and they show all the channels what they say. And it's like, he colluded. He's best friends. he's using Russia to win the election. Russia's interfering, and it's channel after channel after channel. And it's like, I can't believe that the media falls for this. Either that, or they're just willing to propaganda. And I know CNN and MSNBC, but the rest of them, and they've been caught so many times with propaganda, and they just like, okay, we won't think about it. Everybody will forget about it in a few days. So it's just horrible, and it's, oh my goodness. I'm so glad that Intel came forward and put that to rest. I was waiting kind of on Barr to do it, because usually Barr will come out and say, you know what, we need to stop this. And so at least they came out and tried to explain it. But the State Department, Department of Justice, and all of them, even Barr, there is no going to Congress and explaining something to them, because they're only going to look for anything, the tiniest little 2 or 3 words that got Trump in it, for them to twist it anymore. And I'm just so glad the election's coming up and we can get all these fools out, because they haven't done nothing. We're going into the end of a 4-year election, and they promised they were going to change, and they haven't. And then they haven't, they have filed more subpoenas than they've even passed bills or even considered doing a resolution on anything. And over 4 years, and they haven't done nothing.
Well, the Senate is sitting on a whole bunch of bills that the House passed that we haven't heard about, that are all about destroying our freedom. And thank God for the Republican Senate sitting on them.
And I don't know if everybody, we were talking about the virus. It's hit a huge spike over the weekend, and it's now in Iran, in Italy, South Korea, and they said it jumped 152 people in 3 days. I'm not sure if that meant for total, because I looked around on the article, and it just wasn't saying if that was total, but it has spread. And now we have concerns. And see, I always thought they never should have let those people out of China. Not that people didn't need to go home to their loved ones, but when they found this infection, they never should have let them leave China. I knew when they were going to separate them all over and send them all to their different countries that we were going to have problems. And now we are. Now we are. I mean, it's really, now it's getting scary. Because they're not being real honest, and they haven't been honest since the beginning. If China would just fess up and say, this is what we know, we might be able to stop it quicker. But China just don't want to tell us the truth. Mm-hmm. And I believe even the CDC is starting to get very aggravated with China, because they're just not getting anything out, and they're saying they know no more. But I think they know no more, but they know what happened, and they're just not talking on what happened. Who did Obama meet with?
I think they were talking about Mayor Pete. Yeah.
Oh, Obama met with all kinds of people. Looking into the Russian stuff and the Ukraine stuff, he had the whole Ukraine crew in his office with pictures. And that's the one that blew me away. When I seen him, I was like, oh my gosh, he just blatantly did it, and I think they're just trying to cover up for Russia and their involvement with Russia. They were all running over there. I mean, there is so many pictures of Nancy Pelosi over there with Putin, and a few with Hillary. I don't think Putin really liked Hillary.
But he'd take the uranium from her, though.
Oh yeah, of course. But I mean, isn't that what a man, I'm not going to say a man would do. Isn't that what, because he's not really a dictator and he's not all communist like people would think. I mean, I studied Russia for so many years and he's not really all that bad. But, you know, if someone's going to give him a good deal to help him build up his military or build up either soul, you know, for the power or whether it be missiles, you know, just like Iran wasn't going to turn Obama down for what was it, $150 billion? I mean, who would turn that down? You know, I wouldn't. And, you know, it's coming out that they have been paying Iran not to shoot at us for so long, you know, and we pay them and then they shoot at people. And then it's like, well, Netanyahu really explained it well. He said, the Americans give them money. And then once they get the money, then they start firing missiles on their embassies. And of course, then he says, well, I won't do it no more. And then he fires on other countries that are our allies. Well, it's not us, so it's okay. And then come time for that money to come up due again. Of course, you know, oh, I'm not gonna shoot on you. You know, but you know, if you don't pay up, you know, I could cause some damage. And they paid up. And once again, he started firing on. And you know, the embassy this time, I think, is because we didn't pay up. I think it was, you know, to retaliate. They wanted that money.
What's the retaliation?
Iran for Trump not giving him that money, all those millions and billions.
Yeah. So what's Iran doing?
Huh?
What are they doing by way of getting even?
They, according to Netanyahu, they're firing on embassies over there.
Oh,
And
okay.
what they do is if the way he described it is if they're finding, let's say, like in Iraq, there's an American embassy close to Iraq embassy. And if they're close, then they can fire in between and say, oh, well, we weren't trying to get you. We were trying to get Iraq. And they do that all the time. And then, you know, of course, they're tied up with Hamas. And they're feeding Hamas all the missiles they want. And then they're saying, oh, well, see, well, it's not us doing it, you know, but they're allies with Hamas. And they'll say, well, you know, it's Hamas. They don't have to fire it at your allies. You know, we don't suggest it, but we're still going to give them missiles for it. You know, and that's what they've been doing all these years. And it's really surprising that Trump hasn't gotten more aggressive. Because, you know, if this was Bush, now I don't think Obama would have been this brave. I think Bush would have started another war. I really do think Bush would have started another war because they were more into getting the wars and stopping it. I heard I think he was an ex-CIA guy that was on the Rubin Report. And it was like about 3 months ago. And he said the same thing. He said, you know, if it was Bush, they were into wars and they always thought that would settle the problems in the Middle East. And when it didn't, they just decided they were going to go after the smaller countries with the rebels. And so when Obama came in, he thought doing nothing at all would help. Well, that made matters worse. And he said, so by the time Trump got in, the morale of the soldiers over there, he said, was just really, you know, low. And this was, I think his name's Jocko. So if anybody wanted to, you know, look for it on the Rubin Report. And he said it was just horrible what these ISIS and them were doing to the people. And he said, so when Trump got in, the morale was a little good. But then when Trump said, you know, he ain't going to put up with it, and then he showed his power and his might, then they said, whoa, wait a minute now. And they, for some reason, the way he described it was they took what Trump was doing way more threatening than Bush ever was. And Bush was the one starting wars. So I guess Trump's got their attention in the Middle East. So, um, it's neat to hear that. And this guy isn't really a big Trump fan, but he's real proud of Trump. He says you got to be, if you're a soldier and seeing what he's done for the military and the soldiers over there and keeping his promises, that he's wonderful. He just didn't like his mouth on Twitter was the thing. So, other than that, he was all for the support of Trump. So really what's going on in the Middle East is I just think we need to pull out and let them, settle it for themselves. As long as ISIS and Hamas and Houthi and Buku and, as long as they don't start building up again, I think that the Middle East will be okay. I mean, they're going to throw missiles back and forth to one another. But if they start pulling out the nukes is when I think all of us step in again. Just kind of like North Korea. He's a good example of the way a lot of the terrorist act. They'll throw missiles to get attention, and then if they don't get the attention, they do worse and they start killing people. And of course, then Trump responds. And North Korea, you'll see he'll fire missiles at Japan. And I always say, well, Trump's not giving the baby enough attention right now. And he'll call him, and he's okay for a while. And he goes for a couple more months, and then you'll hear, here he goes again. Kim is firing missiles at Japan, and he's going to sound serious. He's going to threaten the United States. And then a couple days later, you hear nothing out of it. And I think because Trump calls him. Or either that or, what is it, Dennis Rodman? I don't know why he loves Dennis Rodman so much. But Kim likes that man. And I kept saying, send Dennis over there to calm him down. Whatever he does, get him over there to calm him down. I think because he parties with him and shows him a good time. I don't think there's anything like a relationship. I think that he just shows Kim a really good time. And of course, Dennis Rodman, with all that money, all that power, of course he's going to go over there and have fun. So.
Well, we're just about to the top of the hour. Got anything else? Otherwise, I'm going to wrap it up.
Let me see. Just Weinstein got it today. It looks like he's going to get a 25-year sentence. And then the other one was Spielberg's daughter gotten into porn because she says she's coming forward because she was groomed growing up. And now she wants to be a porn star because it feels better to be in that kind of life. So Spielberg let his daughter let Hollywood eat her up. That's so sad. He should, and the way she made it sound like is he didn't see it. So I guess he was too busy making all them big movies and didn't notice his own daughter was being subjected to the Hollywood crowd and groomed. She didn't say any more than that. She might have said a little bit more, but it's just sad. That is so sad. That who knows? Weinstein could have got her because they're talking hundreds of women that Weinstein probably got a hold of.
And did the traffic.
And I posted that one. I posted the Spielberg, and of course I did all the breaking news. In fact, I got the Weinstein verdict out within 1 minute after they released it. So I was like, yeah, I like doing that, getting those breaking news posts out. So, but pretty much that's it. Maybe tomorrow we'll talk on some of this when people read what happened with Spielberg's daughter.
Well, with Weinstein, I didn't realize he was why was he in a New York court when I thought he was from Hollywood?
I'm not sure if that's his residence or not, or if that's where the crimes were committed. Because it really, I think it depends where the crime was committed. And I know he was going back and forth from Hollywood to New York because those are where the studios are for everything. And one that they didn't believe, I'm not sure, is he was stalking a woman and raping her, and done it quite a few times. They didn't charge him with that one, but they said one was third-degree rape, which that's horrific right there. And that's really sad. And that's the one he's supposed to get 25 years for. So it just depends on the judge, I guess. But I guess they were allowing, I think it was 13 women came forward and testified what he had done. And that reminds me of when the Olympic women's coach had gotten caught for raping girls. He only got it for, I think, 6 of them. And it was the newer cases, and same way with Cosby, because statute of limitations. But during the Olympic trial, the judge actually let all the victims come in and tell them what scum he was. And it ended up being over 100 women that came in and called him scumbag. So, and that's just, it's like, wow. And some of them were like 20, 21 years old that it happened 10 years ago, they said. So, I mean, look at their age. They've been 12, 11, 12, 15. But he was, this was about, let's say 5, 6 years ago, and it was the Olympic coach. So here are these poor women in the Olympics were being raped and, molested, even the little girls. It's just sad. That was the other one too, to Kobe Bryant's, I think, memorial was today.
Yeah, a big stadium.
So, but other than that, that'd be it, Mary Ellen. And hopefully everybody liked today. Had fun. And of course, we want Larry to get better. And prayers work in numbers. I always believe that.
If I hear
Huge prayer chain.
if I hear anything, I will tell you. Even if what I hear I'm not allowed to tell you, I will at least admit that I've heard something. I haven't heard anything. So when I did and when I have always let you know. So Jesse Smollett pleads not guilty, and at least he's back up on charges. So hopefully that'll, it would be great if the tide were turning in the whole realm of justice. We have had injustice for so long with our communist judiciary, and I liked President. I think I mentioned this Friday. I liked President Trump's discussion of the judges. He has been able to get there is some. I don't know what that noise is. There's something very strange going on, unless it's a saw being run outside, which is possible, I guess. Oh, my little space heater hit the table and was vibrating. That was weird. Trump, he's talked about how he has been able to get more votes for judges than any other president. And he says, but there's one president, I'll never be able to beat his record, even though Washington only nominated 16 judges. He has 100% approval rating. And there's no way Trump will be able to beat that. But I appreciate his sense of humor. Pray that he has safety on his travels in India, and it's nice to see a country embracing him like he did. He was at the Taj Mahal this afternoon, or earlier today,
Mhm.
and some big dinner thing tonight. So state dinner. So keep Larry in prayer as I prayed at the read the scripture about praying for him at the beginning of the program today. If you're late, you might want to go back because we went through some scripture that can be a prayer on Larry's behalf. And I was told not to use Larry's PayPal. So if you have a donation, send a text message. My number's there on the screen. Send a text message and I'll tell you. We're right now I'm having them sent to Mark until I hear differently, because he does have access to be able to cash it out and send it or figure out what to do because he has access to the family. So I think that's a safe place to do that. So I'm not putting Mark's PayPal account up, but if you text me because you want to give something, I'll give it to you. So thanks folks for being here, and thanks for the interaction with the chat is so much more fun when you're interacting about what we're talking about. I know there's a bit of a time delay, and so your thoughts don't always come up if we're moving too quickly. But to be able to have an interaction with you really makes it enjoyable for us as well. So thank you, folks, for all your input. And it was nice to see some new people, new names that I've never seen in the chat before. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You've probably been here before, but we just haven't seen you chatting, and we appreciate your participating. So thanks, folks. God bless you. Keep Larry in prayer. Keep Elly and her family in prayer. Larry's family in prayer. President's family in prayer. And I'm headed back to painting. So thanks again. God bless you. Bye.